I'm joined by Vanessa Bluen, MD of Integrative Training Consultancy, the Consultant Powerhouse, as well as Keith Dugdale, who's a globally acclaimed author and founder of IOWEU, which is a next generation client engagement approach implemented in about 26 countries. And he's also a co-author of Smart Selling, a leading authority on relationship capital. And Keith has a workshop tomorrow, on Tuesday, that aims to empower business leaders, key account managers, and business development teams with global trends and techniques to gear up for a smart client engagement. So, Keith, could you tell us a bit about the workshop tomorrow and how people are going to be benefiting from it?
I'm hoping they walk away with probably 2 or 3 ideas which they'll be able to implement as soon as they get back to the office, which is going to make potentially a fundamental difference to the way they go about their client strategy and also the way they engage with them.
And that's pretty much the aim of tomorrow. They've got a lot of tools that you can share with them. Explain to us those type of tools that you've learned over the years and through many of the books that you've published.
The key thing for us is nowadays you can't differentiate on product or service as easily as you used to be able to. And if you do try and compete on the quality of that, you end up being beaten up on price. As a result of that, everyone's trying to get higher up the food chain in the client base. And the higher up you try and get, the more people you're competing against, the more value you need to add. That's kind of the backdrop. And so for us, there's probably 3 key areas. One, how do you get the CEO to respond to an email in a way that says, I'd be stupid not to meet you, which is a fair old task, but you can do it. And then the second thing is, once you're in the meeting, how do you make sure that all the value you give is in the client's world, regardless of whatever it is you sell? And to do that, you need to understand the world the client's living. And then finally, what do you do post-meeting to make sure you really are focused on helping them succeed?
So, Vanessa, according to the Financial Times Effective Client Advisor Relationship Study, 51% of consultants say they offer excellent value for money, but then only 2% of the clients agree. What do you take from that statement?
I think that says that we are talking to our clients about very often a technical issue, a financial issue, as opposed to a business issue or an outcome issue. So our definition of what we think is valuable often sits in what we believe our product and service offering is. But challenging that thinking and realizing that we have to stop talking about products and services, start talking about the client's role, start talking about the impact and the business outcome, and then we are perceived as valuable. So this clearly says that we're not as valuable as we think we are, and we are probably having the wrong conversations with the wrong people about the wrong stuff.
And in your point of view, Vanessa, how can South African entrepreneurs drive growth?
You know, working with entrepreneurs is quite a serious challenge because you very often are at the mercy of your cash flow. And that means that you're not really connecting with what is most valuable for the client. You're often connecting with what's most valuable for you at that time. So we find for entrepreneurs, giving a very strong set of skills that says this is the way we go into a mission. This is the kind of way we get to share value. And value is not only in what we add, but value is our understanding of industry, our understanding of the environment, and how can we position as somebody that their client is going to trust. Because as an entrepreneur, you do not have an umbrella or a huge corporate that gives you the safety of background. You've got to be a person that they trust, and you're going to be a person that they trust. You're a person with insight. You're a person that helps them manage risk, and you're a person that helps them make sense of what they have to achieve. And then whatever product or service you're offering is the natural progression.
And in your global experience, Keith, what kind of offering how would you say South African entrepreneurs should drive growth?
I used to back my office in an incubator in Brisbane, and so part of our pro bono work was trying to help get there. And what Vanessa said is absolutely spot on, that the challenge you're faced often is that the entrepreneur is so excited by their product or their gimmick or whatever it is that they can't see beyond it. And because it believes so much in it, they walk around the business world devastated by why no one else gets it. And the key thing is they need to move out of it and actually focus entirely on what it is that the other people are trying to achieve as a business. and then focus strategically on the businesses that at some point will have a need for whatever it is that they're doing.
And what are the kind of global trends that you've noticed in your work?
Well, the clear one for us is that since everything's becoming commoditized, if you've got an entrepreneur sitting here in Johannesburg, they can be developing the best, most efficient, most clever thing, whatever it is, and they will not know that there's a guy sitting in the basement in Bangkok who's actually 3 months ahead of him. And they won't know it's too late. So the key thing for the entrepreneur to me is that the guy in the basement in Johannesburg is already building trust with the potential clients way before he's finished. So that when the equivalent in Bangkok gets issued, the people they're talking to are already trusting the people in Johannesburg, and they don't just go for a faster, earlier release toy.
I think to add to that, one of the things that we find working with a lot of small businesses is that they believe that their key networks or their key relationships should be with their clients. They don't have sales teams, they don't have business development teams, they actually have a whole network of people who will connect them with the right resources, with the right clients, and if they focus their energy on building multiple relationships, not just the client relationship with the product, that is a huge growth accelerator.
And if I can just add on to that, I think one of the sad things, because of that generation, I've seen businesses go is they fall slightly into the social media trap, and they almost start believing that the number of relationships they have through social media is going to hold in good stead once they release. That will not happen. It's a deep level of trust, much higher up in the organisation that they need to build that relationship with.
So Vanessa, how does the Consultant Powerhouse help South African businesses?
We are committed to finding best thinking, paradigms, approaches and skills that really do challenge current perspectives. And so we've researched, and that's, we're very delighted to have this partnership with Keith and the IOU team around the world, because it really is a how-to. It takes a concept and a framework and an approach, which is an abundant framework, but it translates into some specific skills, actions, and strategies that every single person at every single level can use to shift the level of trust that they've built across the network of relationships. It's about businesses making better connections.
So Keith, you said that we need to be honest with ourselves. We need to ask, does my client see me as a necessary evil or a trusted advisor? Do you want to explain a bit about that?
Absolutely. It's quite interesting when you speak to, and call them sales people, relationship people, whatever you call them, business development people. If you don't ask them straight up, do you understand the strategy of the organisation to whom you're trying to sell something? 99% say, why would I want to know that? Well, in a simple one-liner, if you don't understand what the client's trying to achieve, how can you help achieve it? And so, it's not a bad starting point. Yet, if at most senior executives in customer and client organizations, how many of your providers would actually know what your strategy is? They look blankly at you. The irony is that, like I said at the start, that's the space everyone's going to get into. So, now and PricewaterhouseCoopers competing with the law firm, competing with the food manufacturers, because they're all trying to get the time and money of the C-suite. The only people the C-suite will listen to and spend time with are those that give them value in a meeting, not the product, the meeting. And so they all need to be, to quote Dov Seidman, the author, you need to out-behave everybody else. And that's a pretty big challenge for a lot of sales people.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for your time, and hope the workshop goes well tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
All right.